Welcome back, everybody. This is DavidXRPLion. It's Saturday. It's the 8th of February, the day before the Super Bowl, and there's a lot to discuss with regards to what's taking place, how things are changing in our government, and I want to give you some inside information. I want to give you some intel that's breaking. It's groundbreaking. The cabal is dead. The Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, being operated by Elon Musk and his team of forensic hackers. When I say hackers, I don't mean those doing evil. These are experts in their field for forensic analysis. What you're going to see, and I put together just a little narrative on it, it's absolutely amazing. Take a few minutes and watch this, and we'll pick up at the end, and I'll complete my narrative.
In Treasury's basement, fluorescent lights hummed above four young coders. Their screens cast blue light across government-issue desks, illuminating energy drink cans and agency badges. As their algorithms crawled through decades of payment data, one number kept growing: $17 billion in redundant programs. And counting. "We're in," Akash Baba messaged the team. "All of it." Edward Corstein's code had already mapped three subsystems. Luke Ferreter's algorithms were tracing payment flows across agencies. Ethan Shayatran's analysis revealed patterns that career officials didn't even know existed. By dawn, they would understand more about Treasury's operations than people who had worked there for decades. This wasn't a hack. This wasn't a breach. This was authorized disruption. While career bureaucrats prepared orientation packets and welcome memos, DOGE's team was already deep inside the payment systems. No committees. No approvals. No red tape. Just four coders with unprecedented access and algorithms ready to run. The beautiful thing about payment systems, noted a transition official watching their screens, is that they don't lie. You can spin policy all day long, but money leaves a trail. That trail led to staggering discoveries. Programs marked as independent revealed coordinated funding streams. Grants labeled as humanitarian aid showed curious detours through complex networks. Black budgets once shrouded in secrecy began to unravel under algorithmic scrutiny. By 6 a.m., Treasury's career officials began arriving for work. They found systems they thought impenetrable already mapped. Networks they believed hidden already exposed. Power structures built over decades revealed in hours. Their traditional defenses, slow-walking decisions, leaking damaging stories, stonewalling requests, proved useless against an opponent moving faster than their systems could react. By the time they drafted their first memo objecting to this breach, three more systems had already been mapped. "Pull this thread," a senior official warned, watching patterns emerge across DOGE's screens, and the whole sweater unravels. He wasn't wrong, but he misunderstood something crucial. That was exactly the point. This wasn't just another transition. This wasn't just another reform effort. This was the start of something unprecedented, a revolution powered by preparation, presidential will, and technological precision. The storm had arrived, and Treasury was just the beginning, the foundation. Personnel as policy. For decades, this principle, articulated by conservative strategist Troop Hemingway, remained more theory than practice. Previous administrations spent months, even years, trying to staff key positions. Trump's first term saw barely 100 political appointees confirmed by February 2017. Every delay meant another victory for the permanent bureaucracy. But this time was different. While media focused on campaign rallies and political theater, a quiet army was being assembled. In offices across D.C., veteran strategists mapped the administrative state's pressure points. Think tanks developed action plans for every agency. Policy institutes trained rapid deployment teams. Former appointees shared battlefield intelligence from previous administrations' failures. By Inauguration Day, over 1,000 pre-vetted personnel stood ready, each armed with clear objectives, mapped legal authorities, and direct lines to support networks. This wasn't just staffing. It was a battle planned decades in the making. "This is the new normal," Vice President J.D. Vance declared from his West Wing office, studying real-time data flows across agency systems. "He's having the time of his life," he added, referring to the president's relentless drive. "We've done more in 2 weeks than others did in years." The secret wasn't just speed. It was precision. Instead of waiting for Senate confirmations, the transition team prioritized non-Senate confirmed positions. While Democrats prepared for traditional confirmation battles over cabinet posts, an army of aligned personnel was already moving into place. Strategic positions were identified. Legal authorities were mapped. Support networks were established. "We don't have a lot of time," the president reminded his team daily. 4 years is a lot of time in political life, but it's not a long time in real life. This urgency drove innovation. When DOGE's young coders breached Treasury's payment systems, prepositioned legal teams neutralized resistance within hours. When career officials tried revoking system access, they discovered DOGE's authority came from levels they couldn't challenge. When leaks surfaced, rapid response units fed counter-narratives to alternative media almost instantly. "When you look at the people surrounding the president," Vance noted, "we're trying to make it sort of easy for him to do what he wants to do in government. When you have the entire team firing on all cylinders, you can get a lot done." The permanent bureaucracy never saw it coming. They were prepared for resistance. They were ready for protests. They had plans for leaks and legal challenges. But they had no defense against an opponent who had spent years preparing for this moment. This wasn't just about filling seats. It was about building a machine designed to transform American governance. Every position mattered. Every appointment carried weight. And behind it all stood a president counting down not years or months, but weeks and days, driving his team forward with relentless energy. The foundation was set, and the revolution was just beginning. The spread. USAID fell next. No midnight raids this time. No secret algorithms. Just a simple memo on agency letterhead, pursuant to executive authority. Career officials panicked, and for good reason. Created by executive order in 1961, USAID could be dissolved with a single presidential signature. No congressional approval needed. No court challenges possible. Just one pen stroke, and 6 decades of carefully constructed financial networks would face sunlight. "Pull this thread," a senior official warned, watching DOGE's algorithms crawl through USAID's databases, and a lot of sweaters start unraveling. The resistance was immediate and telling. Career officials who had barely blinked at Treasury's exposure now worked through weekends to block DOGE's access. Democratic senators who had ignored other moves suddenly demanded emergency hearings. Former USAID officials flooded media outlets with warnings about institutional knowledge loss and diplomatic catastrophe. But their traditional defenses crumbled against DOGE's new playbook. While bureaucrats drafted memos about proper procedures, the young coders were already mapping payment flows. While senators scheduled hearings, prepositioned personnel were implementing new transparency protocols. While media allies prepared hit pieces, DOGE's algorithms exposed decades of questionable transactions. The scale was breathtaking. EPA climate initiatives? Not just mapped, found unauthorized programs in 47 states. Education's DI maze? Not just exposed, revealed coordination across 1,200 programs. Intelligence community black budgets? Not just traced, uncovered patterns hidden for 30 years. The administrative state runs on 2 things, a senior advisor explained, watching patterns emerge across DOGE's screens. Control of information and money flows. His eyes tracked new connections forming in real time. "We're not just exposing their networks, we're rewriting their DNA." The cracks began showing in unexpected places. A career EPA director, tears streaming, "Everything we built." A USAID veteran, hands shaking, "They're inside all of it." A Treasury lifer, closing his office, "They move faster than we can think." Across Washington, officials who had weathered every reform since Reagan began quietly updating LinkedIn profiles. A deputy director, open to opportunities. An agency chief, exploring new challenges. A bureau head, time for change. DOGE's algorithms weren't just programs. They were archaeology tools, excavating decades of buried networks. Each data point connected to another. Each discovery revealed new targets. Each pattern exposed larger systems. "It's beautiful," one of the coders whispered, watching connections form across his screen, like watching a galaxy map itself. For the permanent bureaucracy, this wasn't just change. It was an extinction-level event. Their power came from controlling who got paid, when they got paid, and what they got paid for. Now those controls were evaporating like dawn burning away darkness. The pattern was devastating in its simplicity. Map the money flows, deploy aligned personnel, expose the networks, restructure the systems. By the time bureaucrats drafted objections to one breach, 3 more had already occurred. The revolution wasn't just spreading, it was accelerating. The impact. The first bulldozer arrived in Springfield, Ohio at 6 a.m. on a Tuesday. By noon, 3 blocks of notorious potholes were filled. Local news crews arrived to find not just construction crews, but data analysts with laptops, mapping every dollar spent against real-time progress. This wasn't just road repair. This was revolution in action. A woman grabbed the analyst's arm, tears in her eyes. 12 years, she whispered. 12 years I've been calling about these potholes. He turned his laptop, showing real-time data flows. Look, he said, your tax dollars. Actually working. She stared at the screen. My God, she whispered. It's really happening. Across America, funds once lost in administrative mazes suddenly found their way to actual problems needing solutions. In rural Tennessee, broadband expansion projects long buried under bureaucratic red tape broke ground overnight. In Michigan, water treatment plants received upgrades that bureaucrats had studied for decades but never approved. The impact continued. The transformation was measurable. In just 2 weeks, tens of thousands of redundant programs identified, billions in waste exposed, hundreds of unauthorized initiatives halted, countless local projects unleashed. But the real metric? Trust in government rising for the first time in 50 years. The revolution spread with surgical precision. Real-time tracking replaced quarterly reports. Algorithmic oversight replaced review boards. Local solutions replaced federal mandates. Results replaced process. He's done more in 2 weeks than Biden did in 4 years and Obama did in 8, Vance noted from his West Wing office. But this isn't just about speed. This isn't just about tech. This isn't just about personnel. It's all three, perfectly aligned. For ordinary Americans, the impact was undeniable. Roads repaired, schools revitalized, water purified. But more importantly, something else was being restored: trust. For the first time in generations, people saw their government not as an obstacle but as a tool for positive change. The permanent bureaucracy had long operated on a simple assumption: presidents come and go, but they remain. That assumption now lay shattered, replaced by a new reality. When preparation meets presidential determination, nothing is permanent. They thought we'd slow down, Vance said, studying real-time data flows across agencies. They thought we'd get bogged down in process. They thought we'd play by their rules. He smiled. Instead, we're just getting started. The new dawn. The sun rises early in Washington. On this morning, its first rays caught the classical columns of the Treasury building, casting long shadows across streets still quiet. But inside, beneath the marble and granite, screens still glowed blue. DOGE's algorithms never sleep. The administrative state was built over decades, a senior advisor explained, watching new patterns emerge across the displays. Built to resist change, built to outlast presidents, built to preserve power. He paused, tracking a particularly interesting data flow. But they never imagined this. They built walls against political attacks, defenses against media exposure, shields against congressional oversight. They never prepared for algorithms that could map everything. For personnel prepositioned everywhere. For a president who counts every week like it's his last. The numbers tell the story. In Treasury, networks mapped, waste exposed, systems rewired at USAID, decades of hidden flows revealed, power structures dismantled across agencies, redundancies eliminated, authorities realigned, missions refocused. But numbers aren't the whole story. Imagine changes coming to a community near you. Springfield, Ohio, potholes that plagued residents for 12 years actually disappeared overnight. Rural Tennessee, where children can finally connect to high-speed internet their parents were promised decades ago. In Michigan, people truly drink clean water while bureaucrats' memos about studying the problem gather dust. This isn't just reform. This isn't just change. This is American governance reimagined. The pace is going to be the same, Vice President Vance declared this week. It's just the priorities that are going to change. The permanent bureaucracy built their administrative state over decades, brick by bureaucratic brick. They thought it would last forever. They thought it was too big to map, too complex to understand, too entrenched to change. They were wrong. For young coders with laptops proved that. 1,000 preposition personnel proved that. A president counting weeks proved that. The sun continues rising over Washington. Classical columns still cast their shadows. But inside those buildings, everything has changed. The administrative state finally met its match. Preparation plus presidential will plus technological precision. This isn't the end of the story. This is just the beginning. The revolution isn't just continuing. It's becoming the new normal. And for those who thought the DEEPSTATE would rule forever, they're about to learn what happens when smart strategic minds meet determination, when preparation meets opportunity, when a new generation decides it's time for change. The storm isn't just gathering. It's here to stay. The sun continues rising over Washington, but now, for the first time in generations, it illuminates something new. A government that works. A bureaucracy that serves. A system that delivers. The revolution isn't just beginning. It's already won.
Welcome back. Thank you for taking the time to watch that quick little presentation with regards to what is happening in our country and how evil is being eradicated. And we can start with the very first slide. Where was their attack point? The Treasury. Why the Treasury? What we've come to learn is the Treasury was responsible for releasing all the payments. So whatever money that they had, which was part of the fractionalized fiat currency system, having been created by the Federal Reserve, money's taken from the taxpayers through Internal Revenue Service, all of which went to the Crown, circled back around, came back to pay off our politicians. Those organizations in May of 2020 were pulled in under the Treasury Department. Now, interestingly enough, the head of the Treasury Department, because we knew a new Treasury Secretary was coming in, he left the day before the inauguration. Now, I'm sure it wasn't anything of a surprise. Why? Because he had already been read in on his fate, whether he was one of the 200,000 members of the cast of characters who've been playing out their roles, or he was one of the nefarious who had to continue to do what he had been doing, even though he had already cut his deal with the White Hat Military Alliance and Space Force. And we have tens, if not hundreds of thousands of those individuals whose time is up, who were nefarious, who just bought extra time to live, and have probably already been terminated, taken away to Guantanamo Bay, or whatever their fate was. But again, Treasury Department. Now, y'all know that I have over 39 years of experience, having started in the Big Eight as a tax guy. I've been involved with forensic audits, working with the FBI for over 5 years, been in the tax field for that entire period of time. So what's the old saying? Follow the money. Well, that's exactly what they did, and that's where they started. And then we go to the next slide, and we see that immediately they were deep inside the payment system. Now, I'm not sure how soon I want to reveal this in the presentation, but there were people that were responsible for making sure these payments went out. And through this presentation, you've seen what one of the most nefarious organizations was, USAID, and how they used that as a private nefarious organization to funnel money to whomever they wanted it to go. And again, more and more information is coming out every single day about who's involved. And it wasn't like it was never going to be made known. But think about what they did. And I want to give you a little bit of analysis up front here, even though it's at the back end of the presentation, for clarity, understanding how we think as professionals in the forensic, in the accounting, tax audit arena. They had anticipated, and when I say they, I mean the deep state, that they were going to go and do their same old crap, and they were going to try to stall and drag this thing out. Well, if you noticed, there hasn't been any stalling from day one, like there was when Trump first came in 2016, because he knows the lay of the land. He has those people around him that know the lay of the land. So they're deep within the payment system. Now, do you think that they just showed up and said, well, where do you think we should start, guys? Heck no. What most people don't understand, and we'll just get right to it, the XRPL, the XRP ledger, is the global representation of all financial market activity, going all the way back to the 1700s. Where it operates, it can move back in time. That's exactly what it did. It operates in the fifth dimension, and I know that sounds bizarre to most of you out there, but you're going to come to learn that there's more there than you've ever thought possible. This is a quantum there I go. Oh, just edit that out, Dave. It's a megalithic financial structure. Megalithic financial structure. A quantum consciousness. So it went back to 1700s and recorded every single financial transaction through the banking industry, all the way to present. Now, how many of you know, raise your left hand, if you've heard or been made aware that the XRPL has been running in parallel since the very beginning, seamlessly. And when I say seamlessly, I mean it hasn't missed a beat. That was not intended, okay? Now, these two little, we'll call them stoppages we've had in the last couple weeks, it wasn't a hack attack, because you can't hack something in the fifth dimension. It was them connecting the systems together from the third dimension to the fifth dimension with the Starlink satellite system, quantum internet in the middle. So you can't just power everything up at one time. Now, part of the purpose of turning everything off for the 10 days is the coupling of the completion for everything. But those two little 2-hour time windows when things went down, or I should say the system was turned off for a reconnection, was to implement these systems together, to synergize them. So we got the XRPL that's been operating side by side with all global markets. Now, knowing that, they've had data in real time about all the nefarious stuff that's been going on. So it's kind of like you're at the office, you're working at your desk, and the next thing you know, you get called in and the boss wants to know, hey, what were you doing here on the video? You're like, what do you mean? You've totally forgotten that the entire office is surveilled with cameras. There isn't anything that doesn't go on in that office space that they don't know about. All of your keystrokes are being monitored. The servers know exactly what you're accessing, when you access it, what information, what did you do with it? Did you view it? Did you print it? Did you download it onto a storage key? What was the serial number for the storage key? See, all that stuff has been put onto the XRPL, and it will continue going into our new quantum financial system. The transparency is what keeps out what took place with the fractionalized reserve banking system, fiat system. That's why we're leaving it. But this is why they were able to go in and accomplish so much so fast, because they're using AI. And their AI had already combed through all the data, had already done all the heavy lifting. And these guys were told, stick the key in there, upload the algorithms and turn it loose. It wasn't like they were trying to figure anything out. All of that had already been done with AI. But they needed physical people to be there to do it. And that's what this presentation is all about, how fast they're doing everything. So the deep state thought, we can just push them back with administrative issues. Well, how do you get around that? You don't deal with the people at the top. You come in as administration, as the people behind the desk pushing the buttons. Don't need any authority to overrule them. Government can't control them. Deep state can't control them. So I was like, well, if we try to do this, then the deep state's going to tell us we can't. They're going to sue. They're going to try to do this. They're going to try to delay. They're going to try to get their judges to say this. Sometimes you just have to call BS. We're not going down that route. That's not what auditors do. That's not what you do in a forensic examination. You just get in there and dig in. Follow the paper trail. Follow the money trail. And just like when they fraudulently changed the results of the 2020 election, it's already been proven that they used the 2010 consensus data, and they carried the same percentages over every single district, every single state. So they didn't do anything fancy. It was like, okay, well, we're going to adjust everything. Okay, what were the numbers for 2010 consensus? Okay, we saw a 10.6% increase. Okay, use 10.6% across the entire platform. Nobody thought to even bother to run a generator to make it more variable. And they wouldn't have done it here. They would have been thinking, nobody can get to it. If they try to get to it, we'll just block it with legislation and trials, and then we'll attack them individually, and we'll try to impeach them. It's like they're just a bunch of bozos. But see, they've gotten away with it for so long because they were using Department of Justice, FBI, CIA, IRS, Federal Reserve, and all those organizations are done. They're toast. That's what they did with this U.S. aid. They went in, barricaded, blocked the doors, sent all the employees home, told them not to come back. Now the building apparently is completely empty. They've removed the signs. Federal Reserve gone, IRS gone, and we're seeing it in real time, but we're not getting all of the narrative. But we're seeing President Trump kicking ass and taking names, Elon Musk kicking ass and taking names, and everybody else. And that's what it's all about. It's not about trying to fight them from the top down. It's from the bottom up. And that's where they have been so successful. And what does this do? It shows us that we're at that point in time where for the 99.99999%, it's over. The fractionalized fiat currency system ended technically on the 1st of January of 25, but officially on the day that he was sworn in. Now there's issues around the inauguration. We're not going to cover that today. There's plenty of people out there that want to cover that area. Doesn't matter to me. It's over. How they did it, I really don't care. But they knew how to do it. So don't waste any time trying to figure out what they did when we're going to be told exactly how they did and why they did it. So we can rest assured that it's already been done. And they didn't drop the ball. They didn't miss dotting an I or crossing a T. Now, there's plenty of people out there that want to speculate, and it's getting a little tiring seeing their covers that say, breaking Trump intel, but we never get any of the intel in their video. It's just a clickbait thumbnail, which is unfortunate. If you're gonna do it right, or don't do it at all. Now, for myself, the Lord guides everything. I'm not sitting here trying to produce content because I want to produce content. No, I produce the content He wants me to produce. So it's not my content per se. It's His revelation coming through me, and that's what you guys get. So you're not getting my opinions. You're not getting my wild thoughts. I lean into the Lord, and if it's not time to have something revealed, He doesn't reveal it. And more and more and more is coming out with regards to specifics. And again, it doesn't change anything. This has been God's plan since before time began. Trump, the White Hat Global Military Alliance, and Space Force Alliance, they've been carrying out the plans accordingly. So what's there to be concerned about? We're just, REST, as the Lord said, resist every stupid thought. We're here to make sure that we're prepared and we're ready on our end, that we're right with God, number one. Number two, we have all of our paperwork ready to go. We've gotten ourselves prepared food-wise. If we're not quite there yet, well, then we know what we need to have in the car. So if we have to run to the grocery store, we know what to do. We know what to have monetarily. We know how to present ourselves. We know how to carry ourselves so that we're not picking up offense. And at the end of the day, that's what's most important right now. It's not trying to figure out or decode anything. That's why right now I'm just leaning into the Lord and saying, Lord, is there anything we're going to do right now? And if not, I'm off working on something fun. So I got plenty of fun stuff I want to work on. I'm talking to people about humanitarian stuff, big stuff. I mean, big stuff, like global stuff. Been contacted by some people. I can't go into any great detail on that. Not yet. I have to get past the 90-day non-disclosure. But I know there's a lot of you out there that want to be participating in what the humanitarian projects are, as well as working with your humanitarian projects and what I'm looking to bring to the table. So, make sure that you've gone to my website where you can enter your information. I don't contact anybody right now. It's pointless. After the fact, after we get through everything. And as you all know, I'm on Twitter. I'm on Rumble for videos. I'm not on Telegram. I'm not on Facebook. I'm not on WhatsApp. I'm not on Instagram. I don't email you. I don't ask you to email me. I don't have anything to sell you. I'm not trying to help you with setting up a quantum financial account, which you already know they're already set up, and those are just the scammers. But I don't know if you all saw the little notice that got posted about the clawback on the XRPL. Quite interesting. I said a long time ago, our Father's a great Father, and I would not be surprised to have what was stolen clawed back and made whole. That doesn't mean you're going to be contacted now, but I could see that happening at the Redemption Center. Oh, by the way, see, they know everything. They know who's who. They've just been getting intel on all these scammers, the bots, finding out exactly where the information goes. And they already know how to track XRP and every other token that's on the XRPL. So blockchain's on the XRPL. I mean blockchain, excuse me. Correct that. Bitcoin, Ethereum. They know everybody that has Bitcoin. There's nobody hiding from anybody. If they think they're holding it on a key, well, then good for them, because they don't know the real truth. There isn't anything that's hidden. It's all transparent, and it was made that way to take out evil. We've heard Bitcoin was the beta test. Okay, fine. But see, it was originally set up like this bank they just took out, this trust, 5-star trust, with $100 trillion in it, with people like George Bush in there. They've already seized it and all of its assets. It's all getting redistributed to the people through Nasara, provided you make it through the Redemption Center. That's number one. If you're not right with God, you're not going through. You're not going to be given money to continue nefarious purposes. So if you don't have any desire to get right with God, then just be prepared. You're not going to get it. Evil is eradicated off the face of the earth. Now, that's a tough message. You've heard me talk about it before. It's going to upset some people, and it's supposed to. We're not bringing in the old into the new. God was very clear about that. Dave, we're not bringing anything from the past into my new kingdom. He has brought heaven to earth. He has restored everything that was taken, going all the way back to Adam. Everything that was earned on the birth certificates, coming back. Social Security card, coming back. There's even talk about getting whatever happened through our lineage. That's why when he said, he goes, Dave, you're getting everything back all the way to Adam. It just keeps rolling up, rolling up, rolling up, rolling up. He is a great God. He is a great Father. Good is the enemy to his great now. So we just have to be comfortable knowing what it is we're supposed to be doing and let all the other garbage go. It's like I said the other day. I said there isn't one more thing that I could put out on a video that's going to change anything. Now, is it cool information to be aware of? It could be. So I'm in neutral. I was surprised that the Lord wanted this to go out, but he's picking little tiny pieces of information that he wants me to put out there. Because remember, I'm not doing this for me. I'm holding up his banner of glory. He gets all the praise and glory. Why? Because he's the one that deserves it. He's the creator of all things. He's our almighty Father. He has brought heaven to earth. He put this plan together before time began. He has made it possible for this XRPL, this quantum consciousness, this megalithic accounting system to serve us going forward, to keep out evil. Who doesn't want that? If you don't want that, get off the bus. You save yourself a lot of trouble. Just step off. Go turn yourself in. They might go easy on you. They might put you in prison for a while. But again, that's another story. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. Hope you've enjoyed this information. God bless. And if anything else comes up he wants presented, stand by.